yourself together and how do you stand tall? Number one, at first, assess the situation. No matter the situation, before you act, have a complete assessment of the situation. And I know it's very difficult at a time where emotions are raging. Ask yourself, is your reaction needed in this situation? The way you want to react. Some people will piss you off and you feel like, oh, I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. But is your reaction, is it the best way for this situation? Because you see, most of the times in our lives, it's our reaction that exacerbates the situation. So, ask yourself that question. Secondly, when you are in that situation, who are you telling your heart to? Because you also have to be careful. Over 50% of the people you think they have your interest at heart do not have your interest at heart. They are with you because they know what they want to get. Pure and simple. So, if you think that when you're going through that situation, the people you talk to, they are with you, you want to unburden, you have to be careful. Because when you are in a situation, over 50% of the people that you talk to want to take advantage of you. Over 50% of those you talk to want to take advantage of you. In fact, they are looking for how they can use the situation you are in to make money for themselves. Because everybody is commercial. Only few people in life will truly think and empathize with you. Everybody is commercial. I mean, you see the bloggers on social media that they come out to say that, oh, at a low moment I told this to somebody, they said it out. Yes, people are commercial. And that's why, please, what you cannot say boldly to the faithful person, do not say it when you are in pain. If you want on board. And that's why it must be your year of a deep relationship with God. Because if you want to put your trust in human beings, forget it. And that's why I don't get moved by praises. Praise him today, crucify him tomorrow. That's how human beings are. So, at first, you have to internalize. Secondly, you have to know who to talk to. Thirdly, trust no man, trust God. But also, in trusting no man, the interesting thing is human beings that you least expect that God will use for you. And that's why I say trust God, trust no man. But it's human beings that you least expect that God will use. Despite the fact that you cannot trust man, it is still a man God will use, because God will not come down from heaven. And that's why it is best for you to be able to open up your heart to God. Most importantly, let the Holy Spirit be your comforter. Let the Holy Spirit be your comforter. Let the Holy Spirit be your comforter. Then, after assessing the situation, internalizing, then seek practical steps and alliances. In seeking alliances, let God guide you. But also be cautious. But seek alliances. It is not everybody that is bad. But you also have to be worried that a lot of people are bad. So seek alliances. Reach out. Let your case be clear. Open up your heart, but also be cautious. What you cannot give in such situations. Be honest, because you see, in the spirit, in the bid to be able to solve problem, a lot of people will try to manipulate you. But also be honest. They want to force you to promise things that you cannot give. But also be honest. Be honest enough to be able to say that this that you're asking for, I can't give it. And if they are not ready, who will help you will help you. No matter what the case, it will help you. When you've done all of this, then leave it in the hands of God. And let time heal it. Some you'll be able to solve. Be the medical record, you might get a miracle. You might not get a miracle. For the fact that you don't get a miracle doesn't mean it's the end of your world. What's the end? Death? Okay. If God says that's what will bring death to you, my philosophy is alone. God understands it. But if God says this is for your glory, as long as you make your peace in that situation, whatever the world says, let that be the case. Because your priority is your internal peace. And that's one thing you should prioritize. In a world full of noise, your priority should be your internal peace. And because when something happens around you, definitely, there's going to be a lot. A lot is going to be said. And in fact, when something happens around you, the first thing I should have even told you is prepare for betrayal. Because once a matter happens around you that is out there in public glare, forget it. You see the true nature of people. That's why there's a saying that says, it is who that has not seen a fight that calls himself a man. Prepare for betrayal. I've seen that happen too many times. I live a life in the public glare. I get betrayed every single day. So prepare for betrayal. But most importantly, after you've done your best, you've put in your work, whatever God says will be, will be. And if it doesn't work in your favor, thank God, it doesn't change the world. Because when you even think all hope is lost, God can bring something out. That's just it. When you think all hope is lost, God can bring something when you least expect. So, this is for a lot of you that will go through very down times this year. And yes, you do not pray for it, but it happens. So when it happens, what do you do? When that disappointment sets in, what do you do? What do you do? Hello.
Hello, my brother Rufai Oseni.
Morning, Manjan. Always the first to call every Sunday. I appreciate you, my brother.
Rufai on fire. The voice of the people.
God bless you, my brother. How are you?
God bless you, sir. Happy Sunday to you, sir.
I appreciate you more, my brother.
I saw you when you were playing on tennis. Your Instagram and I said, wow, you're going to represent Sunday.
No, I just use that to keep the body warm, so that when we go to the doctors and they say, do you do sports? I can say, yes, I do sports. No, I just use that to keep the heart moving. Bless you, my brother.
Thank you very much. I really enjoy your lecture series this one. Your really is very because you said something that I quote is that expect betrayal from every time from anybody.
Yes.
And truth, because myself I've experienced it a lot. But the other one thing is that you always keep me moving. Because why my vision is exactly. For the what? For anybody. That's why you see, look at this kind of program you are doing now, whatever you are doing. Even the people call you name, and I've learned that from you, you don't even respond. Sometimes you also many why because you are focused.
Yeah.
Based on what we have been doing, look at the outreaches, all the way from the southwest, you are looking towards the north, sending some support to IDP camp and all those things. Irrespective of any circumstances or whatever they might call you, you still believe that yes, you can do better.
Yes.
So you are really an epitome of a greater legacy for us who have this vision to believe that whatever you are doing is not because of anybody, you are doing it because of for the sake of humanity and because of God.
Mm-hmm. That's my
I
conviction.
really appreciate it humbly, my dear brother. God will continue to bless you.
That's my conviction. And I've not forgotten money for medicine. No. And in fact, you know what I'll be doing? Maybe I'll be paying it small, small. So maybe after the show today, anything I have, I will send you something small towards medicine. So that's what I'll be doing for those people that are IDP camping. That's all.
By the grace of God, we are coming on board. By the end of the month, I spoke with the coordinator. That was on Wednesday.
Okay.
We were so glad.
Yeah, I will send you something small for medicine.
Yeah, a friend of mine who is an ophthalmologist, so we are going with about 20 eyeglasses as well.
Okay, for them in that IDP camping, that's well, that's good. Yeah,
Majority of them complain of astigmatism and cataract and glaucoma.
oh, that's good.
So
What vision? Okay, that's very good. So I'll also maybe after the show I'll send you something small towards drugs, something very small, you know, something very small towards drugs. Thank you.
But at the end of this month, Rufai Oseni Foundation and Icon of Hope will be coming down to Buku, Nasarawa, Idipika.
It is well. It is well. It is well. In fact, I'll do it as soon as I get off the air now. I'll send you something very small, a token, so that we can. It's still the okay. I know. I'll just call you after and send it to you so that we can reach out to those people. Thank you so much for what you are helping us do in that area. Thank you. Are we having a debate for schools, for secondary schools in what so so let's see as if I have more resources, we'll be able to host some schools in Lagos and see how it goes. But as well, thank you. Bless you. Bless you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. So let's get the calls in. Zero so the number to call. I keep mixing up this number, but let me get it out here at once and for all. So I'll send it. Somebody asked me an interesting question. Is it why do you get depressed? Yes, I'm a human being. I don't think depressed. I have to pick myself back. Yes, I get depressed. I mean, there's some days I don't feel like talking. There's some days where you try to help people, you try everything possible, and nothing works out. Yes, I'll tell you what depressed me particularly. Last year, lost a relative. He sent us a message that he was in the hospital. And it came for was a stroke that his brain. And we ran sent money across and did everything, fingers crossed. And the next day we're called that it depresses you. You feel depressed. I mean, look at my friend Spain. He's my friend. One of those I played with that baby months ago. I know that I carried that baby in my hands. Yes. This hit home for me. But today the baby is not more. Because I like children a lot, so I like to have play dates. I mean, most of my friends that have kids, they know that I'm always loving and always happy to be around the kids. But it happens. Many other things. The sufferings of people. Yeah, the case of Nigeria depresses me. So much potential, but politicians fighting for their own benefits. It's just for their own. For their own. Big fat bank account. Yes. So And you wonder what is going on while people are suffering. So these things depress. Somebody said that we apologize to Victor Osimhen for what nonsense are people parroting? Apologize to who? As if Nigerians for that show of shame. Sometimes I don't know how you people think. Sometimes the way you people think really, really makes me nervous for the hope and the future of this country. Honestly, it really makes me nervous. A man publicly put his nation to disrepute, was screaming out, and even threatened to leave the camp. And it's not an apology. And you say I should apologize to him for voicing out. Some people sometimes, the way they think, it shocks me for this country. And that's why you see that bad politicians continue to lead us with this kind of level of thinking. A man denigrated his country at an international tournament by screaming at his colleagues on the pitch of play. He made threats, and we should apologize to him. You can see the mindset of Nigerians. And that's why they that's why they get to have the bad leaders they have. And these are some of the things that depress, because with all the messages we preach, a lot of funny thinking still goes on in the system. So where is the discipline in the system? Where is the discipline in the system? Has he come out to apologize? Oh, because they won yesterday, we should celebrate, right? Yes, we celebrate because we're Nigerians. But does it erase the bad behavior? But anyway, I'm not surprised. You see, that's why a politician will do very bad in his first term. And he will say, Peking will not do well, they repeat. Even if in a say make not do well, people will still vote him in. So as long as you have people with this mentality, and Victor Osimhen owes us an apology as Nigerians, and it's not too big for him to do. Nigerians, yes, we've settled the conduct of the last time, but I lost my head. I'm sorry. 4 words, it won't kill you. It shows character. You see, that's the kind of country we live in. People endorse evil and they're excited about it, to be able to generate reactions. I mean, what are you doing that for? So for you to be noticed? If you thrive to be noticed, that means you're inconsequential. If you make bad comments on social media because you want to be noticed, that means you're inconsequential. So please, let us do what is right. Let us have a society where people are truly accountable for their actions. It's not too hard to ask for. It's not too hard to ask for. Kids are watching. Yeah. I was trying to get the number to call 0907 651 108. 0907 651 108. 0907 651 108. Okay. Ring us up. Hello, how are you? Morning, what's your name? Where are you calling from? I cannot hear you very well. I cannot hear you very well. I can't hear you very well. The line sounds very faint. Maybe you call back, Peter. The line sounds very faint. Very faint. Right. So, hit us up. Okay. Let's take more calls. Hello, how are you? Hello? Morning, great to have you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Felicia. I've been hearing your program. So,
Yeah.
coming through there was around
Yeah.
your program. So, I was the lady that had this cataract.
Yeah.
I was asking for help to go for surgery.
Yeah.
So, by His grace, they happened to help me.
Yes,
So
I remember.
I've done the surgery like on the 14th of December last year.
Yes,
Now it was successful.
yes,
But the thing is that I'm on treatment and I don't go out for now the way they said I shouldn't go out.
yeah.
I don't have anything for like to buy my drugs and something to
And just reach out to the people that helped you initially now, madam, so that we'll be able to help other people. You called on this platform, you got help, you got people money, they paid for your surgery. Madam, rest now. Ask other, go back and ask the people to help you. Ask other sources. One platform will not do everything for you, madam. On this platform, you know how much was your surgery?
it was 185,000.
You saw somebody that gave you that funds on this platform. There are other people also that need help. So it's either you meet them and say, "Oh, I will still need help for this," but let's just rest, madam. You know, you call. I remember when you the help that way.
I will not be sure. It wasn't.
No, but you got the money on this show. I remember you because you got the money on this show. It's on this show somebody raised the money for you. You yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Rest a bit. Just rest a bit. Congrats on your successful surgery, but let people also attend to other people that I need. So it's all about you. Thank the surgery. Mm. Let's just have a measure of gratitude, not environment. But I also see that not there because I know Rufai will help. He likes to do a lot of charity. Then you call just to get some. In fact, see, I've been in this business. I mean, on radio alone, on this business of 20 years, on radio alone in Lagos, close to 10, over 10 years, or close to 10 years. And I've been here long enough to be able to see that. I know what people do, but let's just give glory to God that we can help. Hello, how are you? Yeah, you are the person that called that you have stroke, and we put your word out there. I think you should rest till somebody is able to help you. You have called last week. We have put your number out constantly. I think you should chill till somebody is able to reach out to you. People will help you. So I think you should rest a bit till somebody can reach out to you. Because at this rate, if the calls we get are people that need things, I will just have to stop it. And that's what I'll do. I'll have to stop this request because it gets too much. It gets too much. Really. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine.
Great to have you. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Reverend Father Innocent. I will look from Canada.
Great to have you, Reverend Father Innocent. Talk to us.
God bless you.
Bless you, sir.
This is the first time I just stumbled. I was just preparing my homily. I just before going to bed. It's about 3 a.m.
Oh, great.
And I just stumbled into the Rufai program.
You're talking to Rufai, sir. Yeah.
Oh, la la.
God bless you, sir.
That is wonderful. Thank you
Bless
so
you.
much for all you do. I'm a missionary priest. I'm a Holy Ghost father.
Bless you, sir.
To this work you are doing. I thought that you are just a podcaster.
No. This is going around on radio now as we speak. It's going on live radio in Nigeria. It's going on terrestrial radio. It's going around the world through social media and online. Yeah.
This is very wonderful. I'm a Christian. I've been a missionary and I'm working here in Canada. I've worked in Central Africa, all this Seneca or Tibalaka. I was there.
Wow, that's in Central African Republic.
Nigeria. I came back to Nigeria to eat Baji, working in Baji from there to Abuja, from Abuja down to Kaduna.
Yeah.
I left Kaduna just 2 years ago, and I've been following all you do.
Bless you.
And I'm so happy in fact, you, I would like to get to know more about you because I'm just very committed to the cause of truth. Those who know me, I'm on Facebook. My page is there. Practical. I have a foundation, and I have a foundation. All you are doing, in fact, I'm so excited.
That's
May God continue to sustain you. And I know that the cause for justice, truth, and the good of the people of the nation that you are doing, I know that one day God will help us. Especially that I hope that new persons will come to support what you're, because to stand on the truth is not anything.
mm.
I want to encourage charity. Everything I came home recently. I just left home recently.
Wow.
My 1 month holiday was committed to trying to uplift the poor. I traveled for all.
No, we do a lot of that too. In fact, we have projects that we're doing in IDP camps in Nasarawa, in parts of the country. So there's so much we're also doing for a lot of people through the Oseni Center Foundation. And we have a library and a health outreach center in a village where we built a library and we got computers there, we got internet there. Yeah.
So I would like us to be collaborating and see how we can exchange ideas to be able to help
Bless
what
you.
what you are doing and what you are doing. So if there's
Bless
any
you.
way I can get even your private meetings, how to get you outside this, I'll be very grateful.
Bless you.
God will continue to sustain you. They say the most hated person is the one that says the truth.
Bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God will continue to sustain you.
Thank you.
So I would like
Oh, sorry, we lost that already. Reverend Father, thank you so much. We appreciate for your lovely words out there. And we take roles on number 0907 So take a lot more calls as much. Uh, we get talking. 9:31. Yeah, somebody's asking. This is live on radio. Yeah, it's on 90.3 FM. If you tune into 90.3 FM, you'll get it. And we're also going to be extending radio platforms. Because so when we started this off, it used to run concurrently on 96.1 FM in Abuja. That's also VOP, and 90.3 FM. Now it runs on 9.3 FM. It's a multiplex platform. It's 9.3 FM terrestrial. Then it's on 90 FM on YouTube. Right. So we're running on that too. Hello. You. Hello.
good morning, sir.
Morning, great to have you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Thank you, sir. How are you doing?
I'm very well. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Joseph Chibuti, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm the one that called you about early November, sir.
Okay.
And
Hello, Joseph.
yes, sir. I think I was not thinking that I went to ACC in Enugu.
Yeah.
I told you that I have the full-grown cataract, sir.
Okay. So you have full gold crash. So what has been done as regards it?
Yes, what happened is that the right eye, because I've been cleaning the eyes, the right eye can no longer, the one is totally blind. So I'm using the left one now. I'm using the left eye now.
So that's your number, right? So we'll just call that number out. Please, if you can, reach out to him. Each has got a case of cataract. And that's why I was telling that lady that when she called that, I mean, things are not done that way. You've gotten help from here. Other people that I need call. Just like this. Now. So do well to ring us up on the numbers like we stated. Hello, how are you? Hello? I can't hear you at all. You have to speak up. I'm struggling to hear you. I'll have to let you go. If I say I can't hear you the third time, I'll let you go. I'm sorry, I have to let you go. I can't hear you. Because you see, you forget it's not only me that should hear you. I've got devices in front of me. All right? I've got devices in front of me here, and everybody trying to hear you. So it's not only me that will be privy to the conversation. You have to speak up, you have to amplify your voice. Hello, how are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Good, better now. Yeah. Yes. I can't hear you. The line is going off again. I can't hear you. I can't make anything out of it. Please. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I beg you. Please speak up, project, amplify your voice so that I can hear you. Speak up, please. Hello. I can't still hear you, sir. I can't hear you. I cannot hear you. There's no way we can have a conversation this way because I put it on speaker and it has to be loud enough so that everybody can hear. That's just it. So please, if you're going to call us up, project, amplify your voice, and that's just it. Please, all right? The numbers to call once again is 0907 Hello, how are you?
Hello,
Hello.
good morning.
Hi. Very well, I can hear you. Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Charles Jeremiah. I'm a journalist and investigative journalist.
Okay. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from currently I'm in Osun State,
Okay.
but
Go
I'm
ahead.
domiciled in Oyo State, Ibadan,
Go ahead. Talk to me.
Agirigo SM.
Okay. Agidigbo. I know Agidigbo.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to have a call through to you today.
Yeah.
But I'm overwhelmed. But I'm actually been trying to reach out to you so that we can work hand in hand together.
Yeah.
Because as an investigative journalist, we will share something in common. And also, I have this NGO that I'm also running. And I want to see how we able to also be supporting what you are doing. Because you are doing marvelously well.
Thank you. Thank you as regards that.
I've been following you on YouTube, on all the social media, and also watch out your channel. There was a time I came to the station to check on you, but you were not around.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
That was when we were treating the case of Lamishe, the girl that was murdered in DRT.
Yes. That's true. How did that case end? What happened?
The guy was sentenced to, I'm going to send you the video. The guy was sentenced to death by hanging. But there's something that amused me. He felt so relaxed. He was even happy when they pronounced his judgment. And that gives me some kind of trouble mind. So really there are people supporting him. Why is he feeling so happy? This is the first time I'm seeing somebody being given a death sentence and he's feeling happy. In fact, when they brought him to courtroom, he's so robust. His clothes were fully ironed, starched, neatly ironed, and the guy is looking so chubby. And what's the that the officers they were there were protecting him when we wanted to cover him. In fact, he even have to fix one of my phones. The phone that I was using to substitute apart from the main camera. He hit it down. So because I wanted to have a close shot of his face. So I later captured it. But one thing that baffled me is what is giving him that coffee. The worst of all is that the lawyer that was standing in for him, every time the lawyer finishes in the court and comes out, the lawyer comes to threaten the family of the disease that a silicon for Emma's down. And that thing continues to occur every positive thing. So the last positive thing, the sister of the disease had to confront him. If I see how the video, he has to cause a kind of chaos in the court and outside the premises. And people were like trying to blame the lawyer. Now, what do you mean? Why are you always threatening the family anytime you come to us? What is behind this thing? So when I interviewed the lawyer, I still have the interview of the book. The lawyer was saying all sorts of rubbish. When the judge asked for the culprit, he didn't give an excuse. It's not really fine. He went to the room, he fell down. He did this also, prolonging the system of it. And the woman said, the short time the woman sat down, the woman said, this case has been long. I cannot be here and sit down and watch this case drag this far. If you do not produce, he has the correctional officer. Why did not bring him? The correctional officer, the correctional officer, he asked the lawyer, the guy's lawyer, why is not bringing him? The lawyer said, the guy is not feeling fine. He's not feeling fine, he's sick. And they have to take him to the hospital clinic. Blah, blah, blah. And then they asked one of the correctional officers to come in to the courtroom, and they were questioning him. He went to the school and he sees one of his eyes, one of his legs. So said, they should carry him with the sick leg and bring him. They travel with stretcher and bring it to the courtroom.
Okay, so what you're telling me now is that after about 5 years, because that thing happened around COVID period, it was after COVID period, right? After 3 years, okay. So they finally got justice. Yeah. So you said what court sentenced him now? What?
I remember.
What's the jurisdiction of the court? Is it the High Court or which court sentenced him? That means he still has a right of appeal. So that means the case is not being government. She has a right. So she.
2 times.
Yeah.
According to her video. Because she was on video call, she was somebody on audio call with her friend. When they wanted to challenge her.
Okay, so the case isn't still over, but from time to time you can just do well to give us updates. I mean, because and I thank you, and I also like to thank you for the job of investigative journalists like you, because hey, the traditional mainstream media, I'm not sure anybody even reported it. Once they reported the first tranche of the case, the follow-up has not been as much, or maybe I missed it. So I'm happy that you're able to tell me that the person that caused the death of Bamiche has been sentenced to death, the accused person. But the case is not over because they will still have to go to appeal court, and they'll still even have to go to the Supreme Court if they can. And even after that, even after the Supreme Court rules like that, there's still an option of a presidential pardon. You never know what happens in this country. And even after that, most leaders don't like to sign death warrants. So most state governors, they're like, so what happens to people like that? They'll probably be there for a while. And after some point, maybe they will enjoy prerogative of mercy. So, I mean, that's always the thing with our judicial system. But thank you so much for giving me this update. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Maybe I think the main app number
I mean, yeah. So I mean, I'm always available. You can. I get a lot of messages, but you can always shoot me a mail across all my platforms and things like that. So I would always chime in back there.
On TikTok now, your email address so I
Oh, okay. You're watching this on TikTok.
yeah, I'm watching this on
So
TikTok.
I'm not good with TikTok. In fact, I just added it because people used to request TikToks. In fact, I stopped it for a bit. This is the first Sunday I'm bringing TikTok back because people say, "Oh, let's not be on TikTok." I mean, I don't know how to navigate around things like this and all of that. But I'm on Facebook and other platforms, so you can just reach out to me, and let's see how it goes, and it is going to be well. Mm?
Okay.
Bless you, bless you, bless you.
Thank
All
you
right,
so
yeah,
much.
yeah. I appreciate you. Okay, we'll take some other calls. 0907 651 1008. Oh, the person that said, is this running on radio? He's finally able to get it on Radio Garden. Yeah, it's running on radio. So I mean, it's also on Radio Garden and other radio apps out there. So we're streaming on radio apps, they were streaming on YouTube, they were streaming on what's it called, Facebook and everything. So TikTok, yeah. So today I just brought back TikTok, so I can see the importance of TikTok, and it's good we get some people calling from TikTok, and we're still on terrestrial radio, on 90.3 FM. So 90.3 FM on terrestrial radio. You cannot miss that. 0907 651 1008. It's been a great Sunday, and I'm on the home stretch now. I'm about to round things up this Sunday. 0907 651 1008. I'll take one or two calls and wrap it up. Happy New Year once again. And I'm sure you, please do not forget the sermon and what we talked about. Yeah, there will be challenges. Sometimes things you don't pray for might happen to you in the course of the new year, but how you navigate and manage it is what makes the difference. So please do not ever forget that. And it's been great. It was a great 2025. We had a lot of impact. We did a lot of great things for people. 2026, okay, we are also up and running. Again, doing a lot of impactful things. Hello, how are you? Hello? Oh, we lost that. Ring us up 0907 651 1008. 0907 651 1008. And we thank God, like I was saying, we did a lot of things in 2025. We thank God for what we did. I mean, it was 2025 opportunities of people across all platforms for free. We give opportunity for people for graduate works training. We give opportunity for people for a lot of trainings, a lot of trainings and a lot of opportunities. In fact, cumulatively over 10,000 people registered for most of the trainings in the course of last year. And uh, so we did a lot of that. And so programs. I mean, this year we're adding primary schools to it. Then we did our medical outreaches. Then we also did outreach for IDP camps and all. Hello, how are you?
Good morning.
Bless you. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're the final call.
My name is Habib Yacob. I'm calling from Kogi State.
Great to have you, Abib Yakubu.
Now, I've been listening to your program for quite some time now. I really want to appreciate everything that you have been doing for the society.
I'm humbled. Bless you.
Because the God is Almighty give you long life and prosperity so that you continue to help people as well.
Amen.
Yes, sir. So please, I want to make a speech from you, sir.
Wait, what?
A speech. I want to make a request from you, sir.
Okay.
So I just somebody in the program on Facebook, and I've been hearing a lot of people have been making some complaints. So my request is this. I don't know if you can be able to assist me. I've been looking for jobs for quite some time now.
Okay, so what can you do?
Sir?
What can you do? What can you do?
Okay, so I'm also in store decoration. I'm a graduate of physics and electronics.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to look for a place of which I can just put my head. please let me have something to be doing. So I finished from the university for over 10 years now.
You've not had a job for over 10 years?
What? So I've just been like managing and doing painting jobs, and I'm using that to survive. But the job is not like coming the way it's supposed to be. Like one should just like have something that okay, or this is what I can use to just be managing. Like so, a lot of challenges like that.
Okay, so give us just call your number. You have a degree in physics and electronics. You do painting. You can do interior decor work and all of that. Just give us your number. And he's been out of job. He's graduated for about 10 years. He needs a job. Guys, we need to help him. We need to help. So give us your number. Just call out your number.
Okay, 081
081, yeah. 30
93
93
85
85
61.
61. Call it again, please. 081 30 93 85 61. So that number we've called just now, he needs a job. He has a degree in physics and he does interior decor. So please, let's put the numbers out there on the platform. Any way we can reach out and help him, let's just also help him. Please, thank you. And it's going to be well. It's not the end of your work, brother. It is well. It is well. Bless you. I pray as you go this week, God will bless you. Favor, honor, glory will shine on you and in your life. I just want to reach out to those that are hurting in their hearts. I pray God will heal their hearts. I pray for the sick. I pray God will bring healing. I pray for our country, Nigeria. I pray God will bring direction from all these distractions in the name of Jesus. And in the end, all the glory must return to Him who is the giver of life. It is well with all of us. Bless you guys so much. Really appreciate you. What the words can tell. Have a good one. Bless you all across all the platforms. So, but if you keep listening to VOP, I'm going to play a speech. I think it was one of this speaking engagements my very good friend and sister Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie had. In fact, for the start of the year, I've just been, playing speeches around and celebrating her, and I just pray it is well with her at this point in time, whatever she's going through. God is going to be with her, and we can just only send a lot of love and light and uh, and peace to her at a point in time like this. Bless you all so much. That's about all we can take on the show today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I thought I would wear a top with the Star Wars theme. So hello, Inbound.
This is your number one radio station at VOP 90.3 FM.
I'm told that Michelle Obama...
90.3 FM, Lagos. Playing the best music for hard-working Nigerians. We are getting the job done. Voice of the people, 90.3 FM.
Start by telling you a story about bagels. When I was growing up in Nigeria, I loved to read. I once read an American book. I'm so excited to be here. I thought I would wear a top with the Star Wars theme. I had no idea what a bagel was, but I thought it sounded very elegant. So hello, Inbound. I'm very happy to be here, and I thank you all for being here, and I thank you for that welcome. I do have one regret, though. I'm told that Michelle Obama was here last year. 9. That year, my family and I'm deeply saddened that I wasn't here last year, or that she's not here this year. At the airport in New York, I told my mother. So I would like to start by telling you a story about bagels. Urgency, she needed to buy me a bagel. And so she went to a cafe and bought one. Finally, I would have a bagel. Now, you can imagine my disappointed surprise when I discovered that this bagel, this exotic confection from the book I had read, was really just a dense donut. I love to tell this story because of how wonderful books are at making our imaginations soar. But there was also something comforting and instructive about the discovery of a bagel, in the demystifying ordinariness of a bagel, the realization that other people like me ate regular food. I believe in storytelling. I look at the world through the lens of stories. I believe that stories can change minds. I believe that stories can take away dignity, and I believe that stories can also restore dignity. I'm one of those people who always knew what they wanted to do. I've been writing since I was old enough to spell. I don't remember a time when I wasn't drawn to stories, to reading stories and writing stories and finding stories. I have this memory from childhood, very clear in my mind. I'm sitting in the backseat of my mother's car, looking out of the window, and suddenly I feel a melancholy pang, a kind of muted mourning. Because what I saw through the window as we drove were stories, so many stories waiting to be told. And I knew that I would not be able to tell them all. I was born into an academic family in Nsukka, in southeastern Nigeria. My father was a professor. My mother was a university administrator. I also did well in school, and like all children who do well in school in Nigeria, I was expected to become a doctor. I didn't want to be a doctor. All I wanted to do was to read and write. But I also knew that I was not very likely to earn a living by engaging in such an esoteric venture as reading and writing. So I decided that I would go ahead and become a doctor. And I had it all nicely planned out. I would become a psychiatrist, and I would work as a psychiatrist during the day. And at night, I would use my patient stories for my fiction. But after a year of medical school, when I found myself so bored in class that I was writing little poems at the back of my notebooks, I realized it was time to leave. And so I took the SATs, and I got a scholarship, and I came to the US to go to college. Later, when I told people the story of leaving medical school, some of them, particularly the Nigerians, said that I was very brave. It's very difficult to get into medical school, and nobody just leaves voluntarily. But I didn't think of it as brave. I thought of it as trying. I wanted to try. I knew it might not have worked out, I might not have gotten the scholarship, but I wanted to try. And before I came to the US, I had already published a small book, a play, which I now hope that nobody ever reads. It was written when I was 17. But when I came to the US, I tried to get my first novel published. It was a book set mostly in Nigeria, in small-town Nigeria. And I'd done my research and found out that the way to get a good book published is to find an agent. And so I started to send the manuscript out to agents. And very soon, the rejections poured in. A few of them were kind, at least kind enough to tell me why they had rejected me. Nobody knows where Nigeria is, and nobody cares, was one of the responses. Another agent told me to use what he called the African material as the backdrop, but then set the book in the US. And for a minute, I thought, how can I do that? But then the entire book was set in Nigeria, and the things that happened in the book were particularly Nigerian, so I wasn't sure how I could, in fact, make that just the background and then set the story in the US. And then another agent said to me, I don't know how to sell you, because there's no contemporary African who's being published in the US. If you were Indian, it would be easier, because then I could say that you're the next Arundhati Roy. Now, Arundhati Roy is a marvelously talented writer who had just published a novel that did very well. And so, for a short time, I began to think, how can I make myself Indian? I couldn't figure out how to do that. So, finally, an agent, a black woman, in Washington, D.C., outside of the Center of Literary Publishing, decided to take me on. And she said, I will never forget, she said, I will take a chance on you. The manuscript sold in weeks. And even though it was to a small publisher, what happened was that the book became hand-sold by independent booksellers. And I will die feeling deeply grateful to independent booksellers who, among other wonderful things, actually read the books. If there's any indie bookseller here, thank you, thank you. What this taught me, though, is that gatekeepers can be wrong. That just because something has been done a certain way doesn't mean it's the only way that it can be done. And this is a lesson I have kept close, a lesson about trying, about possibility, and about hope. When I came to live in the US, I found it fascinating as a country. I had, of course, read American books and listened to American music and watched American films, but to actually live here was different. I was puzzled that the words corn dog actually meant something that you ate. And I was puzzled that anybody could understand the game of baseball. And speaking of sports, and yes, I know I'm in Boston, why was this other game in which large men wore shoulder pads called football, when everyone surely knew that football is actually what happens during the World Cup? And I was deeply shocked to discover American poverty. The American pop culture I had consumed in Nigeria had not prepared me at all for the rows and rows of depressed, boarded-up buildings in West Philadelphia, or for the huts in the countryside of Georgia that had no indoor plumbing. But despite my early disorientation, I came to like America for its sense of possibility, for its sense of physical and psychic space, for its sense of the possibility of doing more, doing better. And I now consider it my home part of the year. But the most significant thing that happened to me in America was that I became black. In Nigeria, I had not thought of myself as black, because unlike parts of East and South Africa, where white settlers unfairly took land and created a racial hierarchy, blackness is not a real category of identification in Nigeria. Most people are black. Instead, it is ethnicity and religion. But in America, I very quickly realized I was black. There was much I didn't understand about this new identity that had been thrust on me. My ignorance of America was matched only by how quickly I absorbed the negative stereotypes attached to black people. 2 weeks of watching local television news in Brooklyn after I arrived, and I thought crime was a problem only about black Americans. One day, a guy in a store in Brooklyn called me sister. He was African American. And my almost automatic response was to recoil. "I'm not your sister," I said. And what I really meant was, I'm not black. Because, of course, I knew that his calling me sister was about being black. It's been 20 years since I said that in 1998, and I still feel ashamed of it today. Because those words came from a malignant form of ignorance. I think also that my reaction was an indictment of racism. Because if blackness were benign in America, I would not have said that. I would not have wanted to exclude myself from blackness. But of course, it's important to say that blackness itself is not the problem. All of the black people I know, myself included, are happy being black, and particularly happy that black don't crack. So it's true though. So the problem is not blackness, because blackness is beautiful. The problem is that American society has imposed on blackness the burden of many negative stereotypes. The moment that I first began to understand this on a personal level happened shortly after I arrived in the US. It was the first essay I wrote for the first writing class that I took. We had sent in the essays by email, and at the time I would send in the essay with just my last name and my initial. And the professor brought the papers back into class, and he said, "This particular essay is very good, and I want to know who wrote it." And so he called my name, my last name, which sometimes Americans seem to think might be Italian, because they call me Adichie, but actually it's Adichie. So he said Adichie, and I raised my hand, and he looked surprised. And it was a very small and fleeting moment. But I understood in that moment that he was surprised because he didn't expect the person who wrote the best essay in class to be black. It surprised me. It annoyed me. I had come from a country which had many, many problems, but it was also a country in which black achievement was seen as ordinary, where a black student doing well in school was considered normal and had nothing to do with race. And so I found myself struggling to make sense of this new identity that seemed to impose negative stereotypes on me. I wanted to understand. I wanted to confront my own ignorance. And so I began to read. I read everything I could find about African American history. I began to ask questions. I began to learn. And today, as a black person who is not African American, I am amazed at the litany of grace and grit that is African American history in this country. And I am amazed that this history is not celebrated more. I am amazed at how recent so much of it feels, how heartbreakingly recent the overt forms of racism are. Not just the big issues like African Americans being refused mortgages, or African American World War II soldiers being treated much worse than German prisoners of war, or African Americans being excluded from government programs that help many other Americans become middle class, but also just smaller things. That less than 50 years ago, there were white communities in this country who were draining swimming pools just so that black Americans would not swim too. And that it has been less than 50 years in this very city of Boston that white adults threw stones, bricks, at little black children who wanted to go to school. I'm often described in the US as a writer who writes about identity. And I'm often less than enthusiastic about that description. And it's not because I don't write about identity, I do. But it's because the assumption in Western discourse is that identity is something only members of subordinated groups write about. Women and people who are not white. But the truth is that identity is about everyone. When a white man writes about his life, he's writing about identity as much as when an Asian woman does. But in this country, the term identity politics is used to refer to black, brown, and Asian people, but it is not used to refer to what Americans call the white working class, which is also identity politics. Identity is about all of us. And identity matters because identity is tied to rights and to stereotypes. Because identity shapes the way that the world interacts with us. And in turn, it shapes the way that we interact with the world. So I want to tell you the story of a limo driver. I recently got an honorary degree from a rather prestigious liberal arts college, which was quite lovely. And the limo driver who came to pick me up at the airport, a white man, was chatty and nice, even if a little overfamiliar. He asked what I did, and I said I was a writer. "Oh, I don't read books," he said. "But even if I read books, I wouldn't read or know about books like yours." "Why do you say that?" I asked. "Oh, I just know I wouldn't." "Because you think I write about things that won't interest you," I said. And he said, "Yes, We both knew what he meant. Black things and woman things. I thought that this was a moment of remarkable honesty on the subject of identity in America. What struck me first was sadness for him. How sad, I thought, that he will never know the glorious fiction of Toni Morrison. And then I thought about how the reverse could never happen. I read books by white men all the time. Because in this society, white maleness is seen as the norm. And we think of white men writers writing about so wide a range of things that we cannot assume what they write about merely by looking at them. And when they do write about white male things, we think of those things as universal. But really, we should think about all good literature as universal. I know from a lifetime of loving and reading books that any story, if done well, becomes universal. Because in telling stories, we appeal to that which is human in all of us. I grew up reading books from all parts of the world, and even though I sometimes didn't understand every specific thing about, say, in Russia, in the novel Fathers and Sons, I didn't always get all the tiny details, but I got the book. I got the larger human story. I loved them. For the past 10 years, I've been teaching a writing workshop in Lagos. In the workshop, we read stories, we critique stories, and we talk about the world, because art, to me, is as important as the context of the art. Thousands of people apply to the workshop for 20 slots. And so to make the selection, I work with a final shortlist of 50, all of them talented. But I define talent in a particular way. I don't look for polish as much as I look for promise. I look for a sense that a person will make a good editor or a good writer, that a person has what I like to call heart. And I consider stories that are good, even though they might not be my particular cup of tea, because I think diversity in writing styles is important. And then I read their biographies, from their names, from where they grew up, from where they live, even from their grammar, which is often a marker of class. I choose 20 people. I want a diverse group because different viewpoints matter. And each year, we all learn from one another. I learn about my own country. I grew up Roman Catholic in southern Nigeria, which is predominantly Christian. And before I started the workshop, northern Nigeria was an unknown monolith to me. It was just a large Muslim space. But in my workshops, I came to understand and deeply appreciate the nuances of northern Nigeria, and it has helped me much better understand present-day politics in my country. So I have another story about another limo driver. So this happened at another university, very prestigious, where I also got an honorary degree. Thank you. And because I think it's still really cool. The commencement exercises were done. There was a lovely luncheon for people who'd been honored and our families. And I had some Nigerian friends come and join my husband and my family. And being Nigerians, we spend a lot of time talking very loudly, and we don't necessarily respect time constraints. And so in the end, we were the last to leave the venue of the luncheon. And the other well-behaved honorees had, they left when they were supposed to. So it was me and my family left. And the organizer said to me, oh, there's a shuttle waiting for you. And the shuttle driver knows that the honorary degree recipient is coming. One more person is coming. And so when I was done, we go and we find the shuttle. And there's a white man driving it. He's waiting there. So I tried to go in. And he says, no, this is not for you. This is reserved. And I said, yes, but it's actually me. I got the honorary degree. And he said, no, it's for the honorary degree recipient. And I said, yes, that would be me. And he goes, no, this is for the person who got an honorary degree. So at this point, I'm actually wanting to bring out the thing and say, well, here, look, it actually wasn't pleasant. I can laugh about it now. But I remember thinking, genuinely thinking and wondering, why is it so hard? How is it possible that this man's view of what an honorary degree recipient should be is so narrow and so hardened that he resisted even in the face of evidence? Sometimes we're held back by what we carry in our head, by what we think should be, instead of what actually is. I believe that we can truly hear each other's stories. I believe that we can create a world where everyone truly feels that they matter. But the reason it's difficult to do is because we have long had a world in which we did not hear each other's stories and where everyone did not feel that they truly mattered. And so to truly hear one another, we need to create more space. We need to extend the boundaries. We need to widen our ideas of everything, or we will be left behind. What does a writer look like? What does a CEO look like? What does the recipient of an honorary degree look like? There was once a woman at a bookshop who I'd gone in to look for children's books, and I had said to her that I was having difficulty finding children's books that had black characters in them. Many of the children's books had animal characters, and then some of them had white characters. And she said to me, very sympathetically, "Oh, I understand why you would find that important." And her emphasis was on the you, as though she didn't think that this was important for her. Now, there's something wonderful and affirming about reading about your own reality and reading about people like you, and nobody should ever be denied of that pleasure. But it is equally important to read about people who are not like you. I wished that that woman had also considered diverse children's books important to her. If she reads diverse books to her children, then she's preparing them, hopefully, for a world in which their conception of people is wider and healthier. I do not merely want to read about people who do not look like me, but I also want to hear people I disagree with. And so even though my politics in this country is left-leaning, very proudly and happily left-leaning, I subscribe to the Wall Street Journal, which is a publication that is not left-leaning. I want to know the worldview of people who do not see the world as I do, because in that way I'm better able to understand the world. So I was going to talk about one of the mantras I live by, which is never admire quietly. I believe in telling people what I admire about them. When people die, and I read or hear about people saying nice things about them, I often wonder, did the dead person know? Did you tell her when she was alive? And so I never admire quietly. I will tell you. But I was going to suggest this mantra to everyone here, but then I realized it must be very hard for men in this age of Me Too to adopt this mantra of mine, because men are no longer sure if they can admire and what to admire. Is that a bad joke? Kind of. But I want to make a case for humor and bad jokes. What would life be without some failed attempts at humor? But really, I come from a family steeped in laughter, and I think that humorlessness is like an internal death. But I also know that there are things I will never laugh about. And I know we cannot use humor as an excuse. We cannot use humor to deflect what matters. And today, in the context of Me Too, even laughter is complicated. There are many situations with men in which women laugh, not from humor, but from discomfort. So there's recently been in the news a lot of noise about the pastor at the funeral of one of the greatest artists of all time, Aretha Franklin. And I've been reading pieces, and people have been sending me things, because the thing about being a feminist publicly is that people send me every imaginable thing that remotely has to do with anything that is about women. So I've read way too many pieces about this pastor, and did he grab her breast, and did he not? And what I was thinking was that it wasn't so much about whether or not he grabbed her breast, as it was the larger idea of entitlement, that we see entitlement in the way he touches her and holds her, and in the way that he is completely blind to her very obvious discomfort. But she was smiling and laughing. The problem we have is that too many men have a level of entitlement towards women's bodies. Too many men feel that they have a right to women's bodies. No, she doesn't have to give you a reason for saying no. No, she isn't smiling as she says no because she really means yes. She's smiling because she's the product of years and years of socialization that tells her to be nice to men, either so that they marry her, or to be nice to men so that they don't beat her or kill her. And no, Me Too is not the end of romance. There is flirting that is charming and respectful and welcome. And then there is harassment that is unwelcome and unjust and criminal and just wrong. Adults know the difference. Adults should know the difference. And so, romance is not dead. Quite the contrary. Perhaps romance will finally be romance. Perhaps some men will now understand that real romance means understanding that women are human, that women's needs are legitimate, that women matter. So long live romance and love. When I teach writing, I always tell my students to make sure they have a truth teller who loves them. Somebody who will read their work and tell them the truth, whether good or bad. The love part is important, and I mean love in a very broad sense. I mean a person who wishes you well, a person who's acting in good faith. Because sadly, the world is full of people who, in the name of giving you feedback, just want to put you down and spread ugly negative energy in your life. Avoid them at all costs. And so in hearing one another's stories, we have to start with a platform of good faith. Brian Stevenson, who is one of the most admirable men in America, says about the expression truth and reconciliation that the first has to happen in order for the second to happen. People often want the reconciliation part without the truth part, because truth-telling can be difficult, especially when it means acknowledging things about yourself that are not terribly flattering. When I was a teenager, I remember once going to my ancestral hometown, where my grandmother lived. And my cousin had a friend who was visiting her, a young woman who lived in the village. This young woman was unwell, and so she had gone to a self-styled chemist who had given her a potion to drink. And that potion had made her violently sick. And I remember saying to her, "Oh my goodness, why would you do that? Why would you risk your life? Why didn't you just go to hospital?" I didn't know then that I had class privilege. That I was fortunate to have been born into an educated family, to have easy access to health care. If we were sick, we went to the University Medical Center, where the doctors and nurses were good, and where the care was free and the wait times were short. I was blind to the experience of this young woman who lived in the village, for whom health care was impossible. She couldn't afford it, hospital was too far away. And knowing that I have blind spots makes me keen to learn. I'm endlessly learning. And here is some of what I have learned. To be a member of an oppressed group does not mean you're sanctified. If you're part of an oppressed group, then you're just that, oppressed. You do not become a saint by being oppressed. So, a white feminist woman who is fighting misogyny can be an anti-black racist. A black person fighting racism can be homophobic. A gay person who suffers from the homophobia that is still rampant everywhere in the world can also be an anti-Arab racist. I've learned that oppression works in complicated ways. I've learned that we are all vulnerable to stereotypes. we are all guilty of absorbing stereotypes. If you live in a world that devalues women, you're likely to grow up devaluing women, whether you're a woman or not. If you live in a world that devalues a particular group of people, you're likely to grow up devaluing that group of people, whether or not you're actually a member of that group. And so a woman being misogynistic should not be a reason to discredit the important work of fighting sexism. Or a black person having anti-black prejudice does not make the problem of racism in America any less serious. The systems of oppression, the cultural and societal ideas and institutions that perpetuate these various injustices are what we need to remake. So I'm apparently supposed to be a feminist icon. I didn't bring my icon hat with me today, but I grew up bilingual. I grew up speaking Igbo and English at the same time, and I consider both to be my first languages. Now, Igbo does not have gender-specific pronouns. In Igbo, the word "o" is used for both male and female. And so some time ago, a friend of mine went to see a consultant, and she told me about it. And with my friend, as with my family, we speak a mix of Igbo and English, often in the same sentence. And so she said, oh, I've been to see the consultant, and she was saying this in Igbo. And then I switched to English, and I said to her, so what did he say? And my friend started to laugh. And she said, oh my goodness, you're constantly lecturing us about not making assumptions, and yet you just assumed the consultant was a man. Actually, it was a woman. So I hung my head in shame. But patriarchy is an old human habit. And like all old habits, it will take a long time to die. But we can hasten its demise. And we can do so by telling a different story. We often use nature to justify men's behavior. And yet, we also, as human beings, have agreed that civilization and progress is a measure of how well we are able to tame those parts of our nature that are inimical to our well-being. So we might, by nature, be lawless and selfish and brutal, but we've enacted a system of laws and orders to tame that nature for a sense of collective progress. And so we don't actually know if women are drawn to particular kinds of jobs, if women are incapable of doing particular things. We don't actually know because we haven't tried to focus on nurture. We can hasten the demise by telling a different story of religion. And why do I say religion? Because I think religion is very important. Because I think religion has been the basis of many of the injustices all over the world that hold people back from becoming their full selves. And particularly in my continent of Africa, it is impossible to engage with injustice without engaging with religion. And so we can tell a different story about religion. We can, in Christianity, for example, talk about the various and very instructive interactions that Jesus had with women. Instead of talking about the Bible telling women to be silent in the church, we can talk about how the Bible also tells us that when Jesus rose from the dead, he revealed himself first to women. And it was to women that Jesus gave the central message of Christianity, that he had risen. We can hasten the demise by redefining masculinity. We can tell a different story about what masculinity is. What do we admire in men? What do we teach little boys? How is it that we think so little of men that we hold them to such low standards? We tell women to protect themselves from rape, which is all well and good, but why don't we tell men not to rape? Masculinity is a small, tight, ugly cage. We should break up that cage and then rebuild it. We trap male human beings in that cage. Both men and women suffer the illnesses that lead to death by suicide, but it is men who have a much higher rate of dying by suicide. Why? Because men are socialized to suppress so many human parts of themselves. Men are socialized not to ask for help. Men are socialized to see asking for help as a weakness instead of the strength that it actually is. Men are socialized to be afraid of fear. Men are socialized not to show vulnerability. And so from the moment we tell a little boy that boys don't cry, or we tell a hurting teenager to man up, we are creating an adult man who will be cheated of the full range of his human emotions. And so while men benefit from patriarchy, as we all know, the truth is that men also suffer from it. And we can tell a different story about this. We can remake masculinity. And we can also tell a different story about gender roles, which is to say that there is no such thing. There is nothing that a woman should be because she's a woman. There is nothing that a man should be because he's a man. And this makes me think of how often women are said to be special, especially by people who claim to be in support of women's rights. But women are not special. Yes, my sisters, we're not. Get over yourselves. Women are not special. Women are human. Women are flawed just like men. A woman is as likely as a man to be kind or unkind. People who think women will make the world this perfect utopia have not been to an all-girls boarding school. If we keep saying that women are special, then we judge them at a higher and unfair standard. I remember years ago when a female politician in Nigeria was accused of having embezzled quite a lot of money. And a lot of people were very upset. And I was struck by how a lot of the coverage was about, how can a woman do that? She's a woman, how could she have stolen money? The way I saw it, she was a politician, and she had done what most Nigerian politicians do. Or another story about a friend of mine who was talking, who told me about a woman, a neighbor who had cheated on her husband in Lagos. And this friend of mine told me the story with such horror. And she said, how can a woman cheat? You know, a woman is supposed to be the one who holds a family together. She's blessed by God to be... And I thought, no, she's just a person. She's just a human being. And just as men cheat, women cheat. If we as a society are going to judge cheating, we have to judge it equally for both men and women. Men don't get to have a pass because they're men. But even as a child, I began to notice many situations where a man and a woman would show the same behavior, but a woman would be judged quite differently. So, for example, a man would do something and be called confident. A woman would do something similar and be called arrogant. Now, confident is admirable. Arrogant is something that our society thinks is deserving of censure. A man would act in a certain way and be described as authoritative. But a woman would act in a similar way and be called annoying or nagging. The characteristic is the same. The behavior is the same. What is different is the body exhibiting it. And I began to realize that actually it wasn't about the behavior at all. It was about the body. Because surely, if as a culture we agree that equality, for example, being self-confident is a good thing, then we should celebrate it for all people. But when we do not celebrate it in women, I realize that our problem is not with self-confidence, our problem is with women. Whenever I talk about feminism, someone will invariably pop up to say, oh, you're such an angry person, which is really a way of shutting you up. Right? I am angry. I am angry about injustice. And I think everybody, every human with a heart should be angry about various injustices in the world. But my being angry about injustice does not make me an angry person. And by the way, an angry person is just a made-up and empty idea that is used to close conversations. Anger is a valid human emotion, and women are judged very harshly for showing anger. In this country, it is terrible for white women to show anger, and it is catastrophic for black women to show anger. Because the stereotype of the angry black woman is one that is impossible to shrug off once it has been pinned on you. It will follow you your entire life. It will prevent you from getting opportunities that you deserve. I know many accomplished women of all races who have held themselves back in many situations because they don't want to be considered angry or difficult. They don't want to be called the bitch. Even if what they're doing is simply asking for what is their due, a higher salary, more opportunities. Black men, too, in many corporate circumstances, are extra careful because they, too, are not allowed that human emotion of anger, no matter how justified. And often I wonder with sadness how much the world has lost out on, how much we have missed from talented people who have held themselves back because they know that they will not be judged fairly. Racism is a strong word that makes everyone uncomfortable. But what if we start to think of these isms in terms of stories? So what if, instead of talking about racism, we talk about the fact that a black American boy, young boy, a child, is not allowed merely to be a child. That to be a young black American boy today means that you do certain things that in other non-black bodies would be considered what a child does. But in the body of a black boy, becomes threatening or disruptive. It becomes a reason to suspend him from school. It becomes a reason to murder him. I dream of a fair world. A fair world is one in which a behavior is judged in the same way, no matter the physical body that exhibits that behavior. Because I'm a storyteller, I think of myself as a dreamer. I dream of the way I wish the world were. I dream of the way I wish the world were. But it isn't merely wishful dreaming. It is to imagine the way that I know the world can be. I truly believe that we can remake the world. We can remake the world by taking very little steps, but we can remake it. But first, we must imagine it before we can remake it. Thank you for listening.